Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome again. So, today what we will discuss a producer, or more specifically a profit maximizing producer, if he or she goes to operate in a competitive product market. So, I am a producer, I have to face two types of markets. One is called factors market, another is called product market. So, today onwards, next 5-6 lectures, what we will discuss, a competitive producer given the factor markets what he or she is facing, if he faces a perfectly competitive kind of product market, what will be his or her optimum quantity decision, quantity of what? Output quantity decision. Okay. Vis-a-vis if he operates in a monopoly kind of product market, what will be his optimum quantity of output decision, and so on we will discuss, right. So, all these things, so we will discuss in your book. You will see that chapter 14, chapter 15, chapter 16, all these chapters are basically each chapter devote for, say, chapter 14 is for competitive market, chapter 15 is a monopoly, like that. All these things are basically under the ceteris paribus condition, given the technology side or factor markets given at some fixed level, okay, or whatever factor market this producer is facing, with the same factor market and same technology, production technology, if he whatever he is producing, if he wants to go to sell that product in a competitive product market, what will be his optimum output decision. Alternatively, in the next chapter, chapter number 15, we will discuss the same producer, if instead of competitive product market, he goes to a monopoly kind of product market, what will be his optimum output decision, and so on, right. So, as we told, so technology, whatever of production technology, the nature of technical know-how, nature of knowledge level to convert into inputs into convert the inputs into output. Okay. So, that technology's representation we have drawn few cost curves, okay, total cost curve and few other cost curves which are derived from the mother total cost curve. If you can remember, average total cost, average variable cost if it is a short run case, okay, then marginal cost, average fixed cost again in the short run case, and so on, right. So, given that cost structure, okay, if that producer faces a competitive kind of or perfectly competitive kind of product market, what will be his optimum quantity decision, that we are discussing now. Okay. This is in chapter 14 of the book we are following. Okay. So, competitive market, competitive, okay. So, perfectly competitive market, perfectly competitive, say more specifically product market, whatever product the producer is producing, with that product if he wants to sell that product in a market which is perfectly competitive in nature, then what will be his production decision or optimum output decision. Okay. So, before that, let us define what we are referring by this perfectly competitive market. Okay. So, two essential criteria is there for a market to be perfectly competitive. Okay. One is, say, largeness, and two is the homogeneity. Okay. By largeness, what we are referring? By largeness, we are referring that in this kind of market. So, a market will be competitive or will be called a perfectly competitive market if these two essential criteria that market satisfies. Okay. One criteria is largeness. By largeness, what we are referring? In this market, a large number of buyers as well as large number of sellers are there. Many buyers and many sellers are there, right. So, when you are going, one clarification, when you are going to write that or tell that to someone, right, do not mention this largeness as if the infinitely many producers are there or infinitely many consumers are there. See, here large number of buyers and large number of sellers, what we are telling, whatever large it is, those are finite, not infinite many. Don't. So, don't. Why I am telling that? Because student has a tendency to tell that infinite many buyers are there or infinite many sellers are there. Do not use or try to avoid that terminology infinite, right. So, large number of buyers, many buyers are sellers and many sellers are there. Both buyers and number of buyers are large as well as number of sellers are large. What is the implication of this largeness? Since the large number of buyers are there and large number of sellers are there, not a single buyer or not a single seller have any worthwhile or significant control over the equilibrium price quantity what will be determined in that market. Okay. Then what is the, how that equilibrium price and hence quantity is determined in that market? Of course, what is the market demand and market supply force. So, large number of buyers are there. So, large number of buyers, if we add each of them, each of their individual demand curve, this kind of market demand curve is there. Exactly the same way, large number of sellers are there. If we horizontally aggregate each of their individual supply curve, this kind of market supply curve we will get. So, this S is the supply curve, D is the demand curve. Of course, we are measuring quantity demanded and quantity supplied in the horizontal axis and price in the vertical axis as usual, right. So, with this demand supply force in the market, this equilibrium price will be determined and every consumer will buy that product at this OP star price level and every seller will sell that product also at OP star price level in that market. Okay. Not any single buyer or not any single seller can influence this price level. Okay. So, say suppose say I am a single seller, right. Suppose and since large number of sellers are there and I occupy a negligible fraction of the entire market sold or market supply amount, right. So, I have effectively no control on the market supply, overall market supply, very negligible control, right. So, now suppose this is the equilibrium price level in that market determined by overall demand supply forces in that prevails in that market, right. Now, suppose being a single individual seller, if I want to set my price in my shop, right, price of that product is little bit above of this OP star, what will happen? Or if I want to sell that product little bit price little bit below OP star, what will happen? Okay, that I am coming to that. Before that, let us discuss by homogeneity what we are referring. In this market, another essential criteria is that each seller and each buyer, they are selling or they are transacting with a commodity or with a service which is homogeneous in nature. So, homogeneous product, homogeneous product. So, homogeneous means what? In economics, by homogeneous product we are referring two units of the same product are identical. Okay. Say suppose, let me give you an example. Say suppose there is a company which produce bath soap, that brand name called Vivel. Okay. Many of you know, perhaps you are also a consumer of that soap, right. Now, suppose Vivel, one soap is golden color, another bar is a blue color. Okay. Both the soap are otherwise identical. By otherwise identical, what we are referring, other than these two different colors, all other aspects whatever you can think of, they are same, like the nature, the looking of the packaging, weight of each bar, smell of each bar, okay, then quality of the bar to these two bars, everything are same. Only one dimension they are different, one is golden color, another is blue color. Even those two bars of the same Vivel product, right, are not homogeneous product, they are differentiated product. So, in economics, by homogeneous product we are referring two units of the same product, okay, are identical in every aspects whatever you can think of, in every possible criteria whatever you can think of. So, that kind of commodity we are terming as homogeneous product. Okay. Yes, it is very difficult in real life, okay, that a homogeneous product is there, okay, but agricultural commodities you can think of. Okay. Say suppose a particular specific, say in South India one rice is very popular, say ponni rice, right, ponni rice, say suppose ponni boiled rice. Okay. So, it is a one variety, one quality and everything is same. Okay. So, ponni boiled rice whatever is sold in the market A in Chennai city, and the same commodity what is sold in the market B in Chennai city and so on. So, market A, market B, we are referring in certain location, geographical location of the same Chennai city in that sense. Okay. Not different product market. Okay. Same product in one market, another market what is sold, all are basically homogeneous product. Okay. Okay. So, those are the homogeneous products. So, in which context I was telling homogeneous product in real life, okay, it is very difficult to find homogeneous product, but let us see this at the end of this course, right, you will realize that perfectly competitive market in fact does not exist in real life. Okay. Then the question is why we are starting with perfectly competitive market. So, we are hypothesizing, we are assuming this kind of character of a market, okay, and terming the market as perfectly competitive market. So, if we understand the market mechanism, how the demand or how the equilibrium price is determined, okay, and how what factors that influence profit maximizer producers decision making and all, right, in the competitive market, when we will go by subsequent more closer real life market, right, the markets which are more closer to real life like monopoly market, oligopoly market, monopolistic competitive market, one by one we will go to those markets, right. It will be very easy to understand for you how the equilibrium in those markets which are very close in real life situation, okay, it will be very easy for you to understand what will be the equilibrium mechanism in those markets, okay, and how these factors actually determine equilibrium in those kinds of markets. Right. So, that is why we are taking we are starting with perfectly competitive kind of market. So, in this market two essential criteria is there, large number of buyers and large number of sellers are there, and buyers and sellers are interacting among themselves with a homogeneous kind of product. And another say property is there, free entry and free exit, free entry and free exit. Free entry, free exit, you can easily understand. So, this kind of market anybody is free to, so there is no entry restriction in this kind of market. Okay. Anybody say I am a new producer, okay, I want to also produce that same homogeneous commodity, okay, nobody will create any obstacle to me to produce that product and come to this market to sell my product. Okay. Exactly same for any customers also. So, anybody, any seller or any buyer can freely enter into the market and also can freely exit in the market whenever he or she is willing to do so. Okay. So, now look at here, since it is an homogeneous market, right. So, a homogeneous products market, right. So, if suppose this is the market equilibrium price determined by the demand curve and supply curve in the market, right. Now, suppose I am a single producer, right. So, if I want to set my price of that commodity in my shop little bit above of that OP star price, what will happen? Okay. So, since this information is known to everybody, right, and what is the equilibrium price? No, the customers will quickly move from your shop to another shop. Okay. So, demand for your product from your shop will be coming to zero, nobody will come to you to purchase the product from your shop. Okay. Alternatively, if I want to see, look, under the ceteris paribus condition, we are assuming that when I am setting price little bit above than the market equilibrium price, we are assuming that none of the other sellers are setting or are deviating from this price level what is determined in that price, in that market, right. That ceteris paribus condition is prevailing there. Okay. Okay. So, exactly the same way, alternatively, if I want to set my price a little bit lower, what will happen? Then the equilibrium price, then the OP star price level, what is determined in this market, what will happen? The entire all the customers of the market will come to me. Okay. So, as a result, what kind of demand for my product will be there in that market? So, what I am trying to make you understand that as a single producer, what is the demand curve before me? Demand curve before me means we are referring that, see, I am a seller, right, I am a potential seller, I am producing some product, and with that product I am entering into this market, right, with the hope that some customer will be there who will be willing to consume or buy my product, right. So, I have to also bother that what kind of demand for my product is there in the market. If there is no demand for my product, right, so perhaps as a rational seller or rational producer, I will not try to produce that product at all, right. So, that is the thing. So, as a rational producer, rational profit maximizer, I have to bother what is the demand situation or demand scenario for my product in the market where I am going to sell my product, right. Of course, my cost structure we are assuming that under the ceteris paribus kind of thing, no, some given cost structure I am discussing my that producer's optimum decision in a competitive product market, right. So, first I have to know that product market where I am going to operate, right, what kind of demand for my product is there in that product. So, when we are telling, when we are referring that what is the demand curve of my product, it is basically how much customers or what kind of demand situation potential customers are placing for my product in that market. Okay. So, if we discuss that way, if we think of in that way or try to understand that way, right, what we can get? Of course, suppose this is the market equilibrium price, okay, determined by the demand supply, market demand supply mechanism, okay, say OP star, okay, price this side and quantity demanded, quantity supplied in that side. Horizontal axis we are measuring, okay, and price in the vertical axis as usual. Okay. So, of course, if I want to set price anything above OP star, what will be the demand for my product in the market? Definitely 0, nobody will come to me, right. So, my demand curve will be this, the vertical axis itself, my demand curve will coincide with the vertical axis. Okay. If I want to set this price, what is the equilibrium price determined in the market? Okay. As much commodity I want, I will be able to sell. Now, if I want to set my price little bit lower than this equilibrium price level, whatever is there. Okay. So, we are telling that because under the ceteris paribus condition, by under the ceteris paribus condition, we are referring that when I am trying to reduce the price in my shop, right, no other shop owners are reducing or are following me, they are not reducing their price, they are following the same price level OP star. So, we are telling the entire market, entire customers, all the customers of the market will come to my shop, right. So, that time how much demand for my product will be there in the market? Definitely the entire industry's demand curve. So, this kind of demand curve. Look at here, this demand curve, this supply curve, this is the industry demand, this is the industry supply, entire market demand, entire market supply curve, right. So, in that case, this entire market demand curve I will enjoy. Okay. So, if I ask myself, okay, so definitely my demand curve will be this kind of so this so this is the segment of market demand curve, market DD curve. Okay. So, in your book it is written that in a competitive market, producer face a demand curve which is horizontal, right. So, this diagram is clarifying it is horizontal, yes horizontal, but not this side how far it will go, okay. It is not infinite distance, right. So, horizontal, but until that much at that price level, at the existing price level, how much demand for the entire market is there, okay, not beyond that, okay. So, one single producer's demand curve this, okay. One single producer's demand curve means demand for his product, okay, in that sense, okay. That then when in your book or so many other books whatever available in the market, you will see that they are telling that demand curve is horizontal in this market. By horizontal what they are referring? Because since every producer is very small related to the entire market size, right, because large number of sellers are there, right. So, effectively perhaps one single seller, okay, occupies only this much small fraction of the entire market demand, right. So, that is why effectively this small fraction if we stretch, effectively it is an horizontal demand curve. So, implication as if at the existing price level whatever quantity I would as a single producer I would want to produce, I can produce and I can there will not be any difficulty to get enough customers for my product, no, okay. So, that I clarified, we already clarified that no, that is not the case. Of course, at that price maximum amount of customers I can get, at that price how much customers are there in the entire market, not beyond that, okay. That is the thing, okay. So, that is the demand curve. So, now onwards whenever we are going to discuss the equilibrium condition in this kind of market or optimum output decision of a profit maximizing producer who is operating in this kind of product market, right, what will be his equilibrium, right. So, when we are going to discuss that, okay, we will assume that demand curve is this kind of horizontal, okay, because effectively although I face this green color of demand curve for my product, effectively my demand curve is horizontal only, because I occupy or my share of the entire market is very negligible fraction of this entire market demand at that price level, okay. Okay. So, now let us put that. So, basically the price level. So, if I want to produce this much, whatever price I will face per unit of the output, if I produce little bit more, same price I will face per unit of output, okay. So, depending on output decision whether 0 unit I am going to produce or 5 units, 10 units, 20 units, okay, I will face the same price for each of those units in the market, right. If that is the case, what will be my total revenue? My total revenue will be definitely price into quantity. Since price is independent of how much quantity I am going to produce, right, 2 units, 5 units, 10 units, as we have shown here, right, demand curve is horizontal, that means does not depend on how much quantity I am producing, right. For each unit of my product I will get the same price, right. So, definitely this price is not whatever price I am going to face, that is not a function of quantity, right. So, definitely if I take marginal revenue will be del total revenue by del Q, right. In the last lecture we have clarified marginal revenue, how we define marginal revenue, change in total revenue due to change in quantity production or output, change in output, right. So, of course, to get marginal revenue you have to take partial derivative of total revenue with respect to quantity, right. So, if I do this, that will be only P, okay, that will be only P, okay. In general it will be P plus Q into del P del Q, okay. When because usually demand curve in a downward sloping, in this particular case demand curve does not depend on quantity, that it is horizontal, right. But in general case if it is a usual demand curve downward sloping, we can tell that price is a function of quantity, right. In that way this is true always, but in the competitive market, since price is independent of quantity choice, or producer individual producer quantity choice, this component is 0, del P del Q is 0. So, as a result effectively we are writing P. So, marginal revenue is equal to the price in the competitive market, but marginal revenue will not be equal to the price in other market or product markets which is not or which are not competitive in nature, right. So, and so let us define that average revenue, another concept, average revenue, okay, average revenue, okay. Exactly the same way marginal revenue we have defined, change in your total revenue due to change in quantity, output quantity, right. So, average revenue will be definitely total revenue by quantity. So, per unit of output how much revenue you are getting, if for every unit of your product how much revenue you are getting, that is called average revenue, okay. So, average revenue definitely is identical to price, because price into quantity, okay. So, total revenue is price into quantity, right, irrespective of the competitive market. If it is a competitive market, it will not be a function of quantity, okay. So, for competitive market or perfectly competitive market, okay, this price is not a function of Q. So, we can write price into Q, right. So, average revenue in that case total revenue by Q. So, that by Q, okay. So, definitely it will be P, okay. Alternatively, in any market other than competitive market, other kinds of market, right, their total revenue will be price as a function of quantity into quantity, right, that is total revenue, okay. So, average revenue will be what, price in as a function of quantity into quantity by quantity, because by definition average revenue is TR by Q, okay, revenue per unit of quantity. So, this Q cancel out, again this is the price as a function of quantity. So, the price, whatever price prevails in a market, irrespective of whether it is a competitive market or is a monopoly market or is a other than competitive market, right, price and average revenue are always same. So, we can write in this way, average revenue and price, they are identical, because this is true, they are equal, this is true irrespective of the market structure. In a competitive market that is true, monopoly market that is true, oligopoly market that is everywhere, any sort of product market this is always true, okay. So, these kinds of things, and if we draw those kinds of curves, how they look like. So, whatever average revenue, that is price, that is marginal revenue in a competitive market. So, if we plot this thing, if we measure quantity this side, right, of course, this kind of horizontal line we will get where price is identical to average revenue is equals to marginal revenue in this kind of market. Whatever is price, that is identical to average revenue, okay. In this particular market, price equals to marginal revenue we have derived, right. So, this kind of revenue structure you will get for a producer who is operating in a product market, okay. Let us stop here. In the next video or next lecture, we will discuss that how the optimum quantity decision will be decided, because in the past video, if you in past lecture we have defined or we have derived that for the optimum output decision or to profit maximizing, right, that producer will make MR equals to MC. So, MR line we get, marginal revenue line we get. So, we will now see where is the marginal cost line, which is we have already defined. Those two curves we will now plot in a same diagram, okay. That will help you to understand the equilibrium condition. Let us stop here.